December 20th, 2023. Well, I had a topic in mind for tonight, but the news has kind of blew that out of the water. And the topic is obviously the ruling of the Colorado Supreme Court to remove Trump from the ballot, from the primary and I guess the general election because they found he was guilty of an insurrection. Well, I guess the lower court found he was guilty of an insurrection, but didn't think they had the legal premise to take him off the ballot. And these people found both. Well, by the way, to all Trump supporters, I would relax a little bit. I think this is actually going to be beneficial to Trump, not harmful, because I don't think this stands a whole lot of chance in the Supreme Court. And we could get into the thoughts on that. But and it also indicates, in my opinion, a bit of an overreach on the part of the Democrats here. I mean, and we can kind of discuss that a little bit too. And because of both things, I think ultimately he will be restored to the ballot. And so that really won't happen. And it certainly probably won't hurt his poll numbers any. And to the other people, the DeSantis people and the Haley people and it's Ramaswamy and any Christie people around, well, I think that we know the way things are going. But anyhow, I want to get into that a little bit here and to see what happened and kind of explain why I think that's the case. By the way, if you like these videos, please give me a like. I appreciate it. It helps out with the algorithm. And of course, we're always looking for new subscribers. Yeah. So, okay, let's get down to it. First of all, the Supreme Court of Colorado is a 7-member court, all of which were appointed by Democrat governors, so they're all Democrats. And even there, only 4 out of the 7 have ruled in this direction to remove Trump from the ballot. 3 Democrats didn't. So when we look at the U.S. Supreme Court, which of course Trump is appealing to, and I don't know, his question is, will they immediately take the case or they put it down to the appellate court above them? I really hope the Supreme Court does take the case, because it'd be good to put this thing to bed one way or the other now and before the primary season progresses any further. But basically, look at the composition there in the U.S. Supreme Court. You have 6 Republican members and 3 Democrat members, and I'm not even sure the Democrat members are asinine enough to vote this way. I think that the argument against it is pretty clear cut, and it's this: there was no insurrection. And in so much as there was a riot, there's no evidence that Trump led the riot, inspired the riot, or had anything to do with the riot. And certainly the courts in Colorado don't have that evidence. Whether Jack Smith claims he does is another issue, but they don't have what Jack Smith has, I don't believe. So, and I don't think there is any. It doesn't. I would be stunned if that turns out to be true. Because, in my opinion, for that to be true, you'd have to have a situation where there was a line of communications between Trump and the radical groups that actually rioted, the Proud Boys, 3%ers, Oath Keepers, those groups. And I don't believe that happened. In fact, I don't even believe that Trump really wanted this, because let's face it, it did destroy his how would you put it? It destroyed his ability to stage the appeal he wanted to wage. That was off the table almost immediately when the riot occurred. And so I think that's another thing. There are other more technical issues. For instance, does this apply to anybody that wasn't involved in the southern side of the Civil War, for instance? I mean, somebody threw something up on Twitter, which I can't really believe that's true. And that somebody said that he or somebody representing him had said he hadn't taken an oath. Well, of course he took an oath of office to support the Constitution. He did that when he was sworn as president. I can't believe he would have said anything like that, but I don't know. He says a lot of things. But the point is, yes, and that aspect is a check mark. That's applicable. He did take the oath. But since there was no insurrection, the whole thing is nonsense. And I think that that this gives them a chance to put this completely down. The other issue that really is there is, does this apply to anybody that wasn't involved in the southern side on the Civil War? Because that was what it was really meant to cover. Although in principle, I guess it could be anything that would be considered to be an insurrection. The other question is, what authority determines it is an insurrection? A state court? A federal court? The Congress? Who makes that decision? And there's a whole other line of appeal that I think we can definitely say a random set of state courts acting on their own shouldn't be able to do that. And there is somebody down in New Mexico, if this decision goes the right way, maybe asking for his job back, huh? Because I think they're going to shoot the whole thing down. I would guess that if there really was another civil war, and somebody who had taken an oath of office in the U.S. government joined the rebellion, that very well might apply to them in the future. But I mean, there is no civil war. There's nothing that really qualifies as insurrection. And remember, even the Justice Department has never actually claimed it was an insurrection, as far as I know. At least any of the January 6th prosecutions. So, so let's understand that. Don't relax. I think everybody can make hay. I think it'd be smart for all the other candidates to say that condemn what was going on, and so forth. But the other thing that we have to look at here is also what other impact will this have? Well, just the fact that this will probably be appealed to the Supreme Court and they'll rule on it, I think may be useful to Trump. Now, this is a much lower probability thing. But remember, you have this Jack Smith motion before the Supreme Court about the presidential immunity. And going in cold, you might say that might not be very good for Trump, and maybe it isn't. But but this would get them in a position where they'd actually have to rule for Trump once. And really, they haven't really ruled for Trump a whole lot if you look at it historically. I mean, if we look at all the efforts by the January 6th committee to get his records and all those kind of things, he was losing. And I think this is one he's going to have to win. And I think that may turn the tide that maybe they'll look at, these Democrats really are going too far. They really are. And so maybe it's time to slap down what they're doing, particularly what they're doing in the D.C. trial, which we know is a very rigged trial, if there ever was one. So I don't say that will happen, but I think there's at least a little likelihood that things could tilt in that direction, hopefully. Because, at least from that point of view, because, the other trial is much more dangerous on the facts, and that is the one in Florida on the documents. However, again, there you have the issue that the Democrats have been given a complete pass on issues, both with Hillary Clinton and with Biden now. Both got a pass on mishandling classified. So now, are we going to decide that? But Trump is going to be held to the letter of the law? Well, we'll see. But anyway, that's kind of the way I see this issue. I mean, it's kind of a mess. By the way, I hope that people caught my other posting I made on Rumble about the election fraud issue, and the addresses of my social media accounts are in the description below, and I'll be posting this on Rumble as well. Until next time.